Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Rakah Wa HaKwadash, and double honors to the apostles of the great millstone that have taught me what I know, including the bishops on down, and also the sincere brethren that truly believe, which is the 144,000, and including those that follow, which is the 1/3 of this gospel. Okay. And once again, it's your brother Laban, and I just want to address once again this, immigrant situation which is taking over America right now, and certain other places around the world in the West. And this is definitely something that you have to keep our eyes on too, because you have many people which are a part of government, people that have actually taken a stand in the Congress rooms and what have you to address this illegal immigrant situation, which is all done by design, by purpose anyway, for a an agenda. And the agenda is, as we know, that Esau wants his New World Order. And, the way that they're going to get the New World Order is by creating a scenario of chaos, which is very well needed, because they believe that through chaos, there lies a new order ahead, as what they're going to set up. But the Most High is doing whatever he's going to do, because his purpose oversees the purposes of men, being that the ways of the Lord are higher than our ways. So obviously the Lord himself, he's really using men to stage scenarios like the one he's going to do in the future. And we know that Esau is about that, since going all the way back to the World Trade Center. Okay, we all know what that was about, and what the purpose behind that was about as well afterwards. All right, during the time of Tony Blair and Bush. Let's get into this. FBI warns of imminent terror attack due to influx of illegals. According to an ABC news bulletin, U.S. intelligence officials are warning that radicals in the U.S. might respond to. Now, these boys are back now for so many years. Calls for similar attacks in the wake of last month's deadly terrorist attack at a concert hall in Moscow, right? Which happened, I believe, last week ago. And again, all I can basically say is that scenario was definitely set up to, as it came into being, evidence-wise. And there's a lot going on right now with Gaza, and I'm really thinking about the H group that they're talking about, which is as they say, has been responsible for killing, those so-called JOOs over there. But primarily, we know that it was the IDF that was responsible for the deaths of those people instead. And as well as we know that Hamas stems back to the people that are claiming to have been attacked by Hamas instead. All right. So, as the scripture says, that we are not to be ignorant of anything greater or small matter. We know this devil inside and out, and we know what the plans are. And like I said, the plan is to create another world system to where we can all be under full government control, next level style. And this time is going to be by the implantable device, which will be the mark of the what. Okay, as we like to keep talking about, because that's basically the final nail in the coffin to bring an end to this civilization. I mean, that's what it's all about, ain't it? Okay, so that's just the thing right there. I just want to move on forward and read something that was posted on the Twitter. Okay. This is the bulletin that the other article was referring to. In a bulletin the law enforcement obtained by ABC News, FBI, Department of Homeland Security, and National Counterterrorism Center warned of possible threats to public gathering in the U.S. from threats actors inspired by, yes, as you can see it there, ISIS attacks in Moscow. And like I said, the whole Moscow thing was set up. And that's so that eventually that can then give more credence to the idea that there is potential T's out there. I mean, I've already said the word. I might as well just say it. Terrorists out in the midst, even among those so-called immigrants, have you will. And like I said, the whole immigrant situation was all done by design so that by purpose they can set up a scenario. Something much more worse than 9/11 could happen. And with that sort of event, they could They can now feel free, or let me use another term. Let me use another set of words. That would then give them the okay to move forward with the New World System, which is total control over your life. I mean, we're talking about from how you're going to spend your money, which is going to be technological, from you being watched on what you're buying and selling, and your whole entire life is going to be monitored. All right. So to create a world like that, you need a reasoning. You need to create a reasoning why you want severe level of control. All right. And that's why all of this is going on. It's all done by purpose, because if you really think that this is all done naturally, then you don't know what's going on. Okay. If things happen which is going to affect the economy in the West, or any economy of that matter, of a world that the central banks run, because the central banks run every country. Okay. So if something's going to be had to have an effect on the economy somehow, some way, wouldn't those same people that control the banks in these various countries be involved in that? Of course, because they own the lands. When you pay taxes to the same people that are of that ilk. If they're able to control you on it, then guess what? All of the power is theirs, and they could do what they wish. In this case, okay? So that's just the thing. This is all done by design for a greater good on their behalf. But we know that eventually, and I think I've said this earlier, and I have to reiterate this again. I have to bring this back into mind. Really, this is all that the Lord's doing. The Lord got these people in a position to do what they're doing by his will. Okay, because the purposes of the Lord will stand. Okay, so they may think, oh yeah, we're doing this for a new world system, but primarily they're really doing it because the Lord got them doing it. The Lord have given them a strong delusion that they will believe a lie, and that's the lie that they're strongly deluded into believing. So now let's read this as well. This is what they're going to bring about. Jeremiah 30 and verse 7. At last, for that day is great, so that none is like it, and it is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So just like I said, this is what's being cooked. That's why we have this situation and many other situations leading up to this right here, Jacob's trouble. Jeremiah 30 and verse 7. At last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And this is what's being cooked up and ready to be served. And the Lord is cooking this up right here. All right. Because the Lord has everything written down for us to know how he's going to bring the end of this place. So you have men that are in very powerful positions that can affect the world with a greater impact, positively and negatively. But, obviously, being that we're dealing with Esau here, he's the left-hand side vessel. So everything that he's going to do is going to be left-hand sided. As they believe through left-hand sideness, they can triumph. And they have triumphed over the left-hand sideness. Okay, because that's their lot. Their lot isn't to be the righteous. Their lot is to be the wicked. And through wickedness, they did triumph. But see, how long are they going to triumph, though? How long would that triumph go for? As it is written that the joy of the hypocrite is, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment. Because you can only but do wrong for a moment. You can only but lie for a moment. When you operate by wrong, you're really living a lie, which is only but for a moment. Eventually, all of that stuff is going to be had up. And the true believers of Yahweh Ba'al Shai Shai that have the knowledge to rule the planet Earth, they're going to rule the planet Earth, and they're not going to be removed. They're going to be established, as it is also written that the meek shall inherit the earth. Okay? So that's just the thing. You see, the wicked right now are ruling for a short span of time, because they're ruling in wickedness. They're ruling in wickedness, which is nothing more than ruling in the sense of lying. Okay, because the true way to rule over a people is by righteousness. Righteousness is truth. So all of this right here, again, is just a result of Esau. The party's about to be over for him, and he don't even understand it. Everything that these devils are doing, they're leading themselves towards their own dreadful downfall. I don't need to say anymore. Let me read some more scriptures. Let me read this again. At last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Exactly. So the time of Jacob's trouble is well on the way, and that's going to be a time of the ending of Esau's world at the same time. And even though you're going to have a lot of nations that are going to be affected in this time, but the focus here is Jacob, because the Lord chose the nation of Israel to be his people, and the rest of the other nations he likened them as unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So what if they're troubled? Okay, the focus is on Jacob, and primarily the focus is going to be on the elect of Jacob, which will take heed to the scriptures as well as we're doing right now, and yet and still we will still heed in the time of trouble to the words of the Yahweh Yahweh Shai. All right, and in that we will be saved. Okay, Second Esdras, Salakia, Second Esdras, 6 and verse 7. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby you have believed. So by two of these things we will be saved. Oh, let's even read that in the book of I think it's James or something like that. James chapter 2. I thought I had it on deck already. James chapter 2 shall we get. And I think it's verse 17. Yeah, this is it right here. Even so, faith, if it have not works, is dead, being alone. Yea, a man may say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works. And thou believes that there is one power, and thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble. Now, let's go down to the point. Let's go down and let's just get to the point here. And this is concerning Abraham when he was about to give up his son Isaac on the altar, which it was nothing more than a test to see how far Abraham really believed in the Lord. Okay. Seeing thou how faith wrought with his works, and by works was faith made perfect. And the scripture was fulfilled which saith, Abraham believed the Most High, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness, and he was called the friend of the Most High. Exactly. So Abraham then became, God's little man, have you will. Right? And Lord willing, we're God's little man. All right. We're the Most High's little men, because God can, you could use that terminology for anything. So we'll use the term Most High. That's why we always say the term Most High rather than the term God instead. So it says, ye seen then how that by works a man is justified, and not by faith only. Because you, again, as it just went and told you, as I read it, that your faith is demonstrated by your work. Because you could say, well, I believe and I have faith, but where's the works to show that you believe? So by the works that we do show, as I'm going to say in order, by works is displayed faith, that we believe in the Lord, and by that we will be delivered and saved. Okay, verse 7 again, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby you have believed. So all of this shows that we believe, like I've just said, shall be preserved from the said perils. What is the said perils? The plagues written in the book of Psalms 91 I can think of, the nuclear destruction, and Jacob's trouble, which is the focus right now, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. So the remnant, those that have been sanctified by the washing of the word, we've already been sanctioned, which the term sanction means to what? I think it means the same thing, sanctioned or set up right. It actually means that. Sanction means to set apart, which means to be holy. Okay, holy means, all of that means the same thing. So we've been sanctified from the beginning, those that have this word, which I'll have to include myself in that as well, of course, but yeah, Lord willing, if we continue on with the word, then yeah, that we are the elect. As the Apostle Paul also said, that I'm confident in the hope that I might be saved. And that's us. We have to believe that we're going to be saved. And it's not about being braggadocious. It's just what it is. If we're going out there to preach the word of the Lord, it's really because we believe that we will be saved. We believe that we're the elect without knowing with certainty, with physical evidence, that we're the elect. Okay? So it all begins by demonstrating through the work that we are the elect, as well as it reads in the book of Peter's, that we do all of these things to make our calling and our election sure. Again, this is how, when we do these things, we show that we're possibly the elect, because we believe that we are. Okay, through work. We're not just saying we believe it, but there's nothing to show that that is the case. We're showing you when we go out there and we preach the word, and we go against various beliefs taught by these other camps and people that would come with their own various doctrine. Will confront it, because we truly believe in this thing. And if we believe in this thing, then again, that would then make us the elect. Okay, let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. All right, so that's what we believe. We believe that we're the elect. And if we didn't believe it, then there's no point in even doing the work if you didn't believe it. All right. This is a thing of faith. So now that I'm done talking about that, let's even go and read this as well. Amos 9 and verse 9, it says, for lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel. Who is the house of Israel? The so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, among all nations, and even among those that don't even look like so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, those that have the Israelite genome, like as corn is sifted in the sieve, yet shall not the least of the grain fall upon the earth. So a time of great shaking is going to be had on the earth. And yet and still, the elect is still going to be founded by faith. And by that faith, they will be saved even in turmoilistic times. Even in the times of turmoil, they will be saved. All right? Because the Lord knows the elect, and the Lord knows those that have sinned against him. Okay? So they're going to be separate, as well as it reads in the book of Matthew 13, how the Lord is going to send the angels to do the reaping and to separate the sheep from the goats in that time. And the least of the grain, which will not fall upon the earth, once again, is the elect, which is scattered abroad. Isaiah 11 and verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros, which Pathros is I believe is an area in Babylon, and Cush, which is in East Africa today, and from Elam, which is in India, and from Shinar, which Shinar is in Iraq, which was a place in Babylon, ancient Babylon, and from Hamath. And I believe Hamath is also in a city, is an area in Lebanon. And from the islands of the sea. And we're in the island even down here in the UK. And of course, the brothers in the Western Hemisphere and the islands too. So all of us that believe in this truth, we're going to be delivered in the time of Jacob's trouble, which is what's being cooked up right now. Isaiah 11 and verse 12, and he shall set up an enzyme for the nations. In other words, an example, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth, which was the curse that fell upon us according to the book of Deuteronomy 28. And if I'm correct, verse 64, that we would serve other gods and be scattered. So when Yahushua comes back, as I've said in my last lesson, Lord willing, that was edifying. The Lord is going to come to physically dead the curse. Now, when he died on the cross, he spiritually deaded the curse, which came from sin. And guess what? He's going to physically do away with all of that. He's going to bring together the elect, and the elect are going to what? Commune with one another, tribe to tribe, kingdom to kingdom. And guess what? We're going to be one head as we are right now. So that attitude that we got right now of knowing that we're one people, even though, you have, disagreements between the so-called Negro and the so-called Latino communities. Guess what? In this truth, we don't have that attitude. We look at each other as a nation, as one, which is, again, the purpose of the Lord, which is standing right now. Now, there's a brother that I teach with, and the brother could definitely pass for a Southern Kingdom brother, either of the tribe of Judah or primarily Benjamin or Levi. Okay, but he's actually of the tribe of Ephraim. Okay, and as well as you have in the U.S. too, in the West Side, you got the Spanish-speaking brothers, and they do the Spanish-speaking camp, and you got the brothers that are of the Southern Kingdom, and they tight knit together. Same thing with the brothers in Chicago. All right, you got the Northern and the Southern Kingdom mingled in that camp. So when you look at Great Millstone primarily, we represent Ezekiel 37 and as well as Isaiah 11 and verse 12. So again, when we're resurrected, as well as just like Yahushua, and we get beamed up into them ships and we're set in the kingdom, guess what? That attitude of the disagreements between the two will no longer be had anymore, because that all came because of what Solomon did. That all came because of the sin of Solomon. That's why you had the disunionship of the two heads. I'm talking about Judah and Ephraim here. All right. So all of that is going to be demolished, as it is yet this very moment in time anyway, just to correct myself. Verse 13. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversary of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. So that's Ezekiel 37 right there. Okay. So the elect will be delivered in out of the time of Jacob's trouble. Wisdom of Solomon, 3 and 2, right? In the sight of the unwise, they seem to die, and their departure is taken for misery. And their going from us is to be utter destruction, but they are in peace. For though they be punished in the sight of men, yet is their hope full of immortality, and having been a little chastised, they shall be greatly rewarded. For the Most High proved them and found them worthy for himself. There you go. Daniel 12 now. And you know what I'm going to do? Let me just elaborate on this right here. And this also reminds me of the scripture in the book of Zechariah 13, 9 and 10, how the Lord is going to bring the 1/3 through the fire, which represents the elect anyway. And that's how we're going to be proven. Jacob's trouble is going to come, and we're going to be proven through all of that. And we're going to be found worthy of the Most High for himself. As it is written that you can't please the Most High in any other way besides a way of having faith. I'm roughly paraphrasing the scripture. Without faith, it's impossible to please him. So we're going to be found worthy based on faith being demonstrated towards him. Now let's read Daniel 12 and verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as was never since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, and every one that shall be found written in the book. So again, the elect are going to be the ones delivered in the time of trouble. And this is why the ones of us, we look for the time of Jacob's trouble, because in that time is going to definitely nigh us towards our salvation. So technically, even though we don't know exactly what's going to come out of Jacob's trouble, but at the same time, we need it, because that's the only way we're going to have to get out of here. All right. So let Esau do his thing, which really Esau is doing what the Lord wants him to do anyway. The Most High has his hands on everything, or should I say his tentacles. If the so-called JOO have their tentacles on all things, how much more the Most High? The Most High has his hand on everything. Okay, let me use the term hand, because the hand also is symbolic of power. All right, the Most High has his hand on everything. So whatever these devils are trying to do, it's all going to work against their favor ultimately. And the whole notion of setting up a new world order will be had by the Israelites, the true new world order we talking about. Okay, not this vain idea of a new world order from the devil. Because last time I checked, we're the world without end, as that's written, and we're going to be the world without end. That applies to the Israelites, us. That don't apply to the so-called white man and the JOOSs. That don't apply to them. Okay, so what they got going on is only but for a short period of time, and that will not change. Now, I understand why these devils have to do what they got to do, because these devils know the inevitable is coming, but yet still they got to try to save their asses, which is understandable. All right, because if you were an Edomite, you'd be causing all kind of confusion to save your ass, because you know spiritually what's coming down the pike. All right, so that's it on that. That's all I got to say with this. I want to give all of the praise and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai Bashim Rakah HaKodash, and double honors to the apostles of the great Knowstone, including the bishops that taught me this truth, and to the sincere believers and those that are following, those that preach the ministry, which makes up the 144,000 and as well as the 1/3. That's what it's about. It's about the elect. Shalom.